I think you do a terrible thing by forcing your employees to get the vaccine, by forcing them to, by putting their job on the line, by forcing them to pick. I think you do a terrible disservice to your employees, and I think you should be ashamed of yourselves for doing it. I genuinely do. I do not think if you have someone who has a conscientious objection to getting the vaccine, you should make them do it at a time where there is little institutional trust in America. I think that you as an institution are breeding further distrust. I know there are progressives out there who are perfectly fine, and these are many of the same people who would love everyone in America to also have to experience an abortion so they know how good it is. I don't think we should let those people set public policy. I think it is shameful for corporations to do this, and I recognize it's their right to do it. I think a company like Delta Airlines or Southwest Airlines should be praised for not forcing vaccines onto their employees. Frankly, I think that hospitals, I've changed my mind on this. I did think, maybe there should be an exception for hospitals. I don't think there should be an exception for hospitals. And the reason I don't is because you have for some time now had an epidemic on our hands, and many of the people who work in these hospitals have gotten COVID. And there is overwhelming data at this point that people who have previously gotten COVID are the most likely to not get it a second time. There certainly are people who get it who've had COVID before, but there's no reason to force a vaccine on those who have it. And frankly, if you're a healthcare provider who made it through a global pandemic and did not get COVID, the odds are pretty good you know what you're doing to keep yourself safe and keep on keeping on if you don't want the vaccine. I think if you are an employer, this is the approach you should take. Instead of mandating vaccines, understand that if you have COVID, you're going to be out of work for 2 weeks, or until you get a positive test, or a negative test rather. I think what employers should do is say, look, you're going to have to use up all your sick days. If you get COVID, we're not making exceptions for you from here on out. If you choose not to get the vaccine and you get COVID, you're going to use up your sick time. And if you use all your sick days and you still have to stay out of the office and you can't come back until you get a negative test, then you use up your sick days and you're going to eat into your vacation days. And if all your vacation days and all your sick days are gone, your pay is going to be docked. And maybe that'll be an incentive for people to get the vaccine, and tell them if they get the vaccine and they get COVID, well, then none of that applies. But if they choose not to get vaccinated, that's totally fine. That is their choice, but they need to understand that there's going to be no exception for them when it comes to using vacation days and sick days, and take your chances. And if you get COVID, you can't come back to work unless you got a negative COVID test.